Recently, This Is America and the World visited the Republic of Estonia. It's a small and beautiful European country located on the Baltic Sea with a population of only 1.3 million people. With its recent independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, Estonia is now leading the way as probably the most advanced digital country in the world. Let me encourage you to sit back, relax, and really learn about Estonian culture. Kristjan Järvi is an internationally celebrated conductor, composer, pianist, and arranger from a very famous musical family. This Is America visits the Republic of Estonia. This Is America and the World is brought to you by Japan, history, hospitality, and advanced technology, sharing tomorrow. The Washington Diplomat, a world of news and perspective. The Sultanate of Oman. The Estonian American National Council, Enterprise Estonia, and the European Regional Development Fund, and the Foreign Ministry of the Republic of Estonia. The U.S.-China Education Trust and F.Y. Chang Foundation, Julia Chang Block, President. The Rotendaro Family Trust. The Forerunner Foundation, dedicated to forward-thinking public policy. And the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy, presenting international artists in diplomatic settings. Thank you for sitting with us this morning.
Nice to be here.
You've traveled the world, and you've seen the best of it and the worst of it. When you come to Estonia, why do you love it so?
Well, Estonia, for me, first of all, I was born here, and actually this room is where my dad had his very first job in his career as a conductor. And he conducted the Estonian Radio and Television Orchestra. And in 1960 or 61, I can't remember exactly because I wasn't around, Arvo Pärt was also a radio engineer. And they were doing stuff in this building together. And actually this very room is where my father actually recorded first works by Arvo Pärt that ever actually saw the day of light. So this is kind of a historical room for me, but not only for me, I think for music history now. And Estonia in general is a place of some kind of incredible peace and serenity and seclusion, but at the same time, also we have a history which has made us become extremely resilient and tough, and actually not very trustful of many, including each other. And so we are trying to always kind of piece together again and again our nation, which has been constantly been run over and over and over and over again by others. And so we haven't actually come into our own because we've been a nation for a long time, but it's because we kind of had to stick together. And if we didn't stick together, then we wouldn't be around at all. And so we have actually a fantastic thing called nature, which has created our songs and dances and our language, and that is it, This is our biggest and most mighty, I don't want to, if we were talking in terms of, weapons, that's our greatest weapon, no, but we don't fight because we're too small to fight. We just have to stay alive, you know. So better not to fight. It's better just to stay alive. And the best way to stay alive is to constantly preserve and nurture the place which has given our language and our songs and dances, and actually see that, wait a second, that reflects where we're from. And we've been here for thousands of years, but we have not become like a mighty economic power, because economy is fiction. I mean, it's not actually, it doesn't mean anything, you know, it's a bunch of numbers. And at first, when you traded fish for, grain or something, then it made sense, and then it was replaced by money, but it was actually still, it represented something. Now money doesn't actually even represent anything, actually. It just represents, it's a kind of a tool of aspiration, I think, but actually it's fictitious aspiration. So we try to keep things real.
Paint some pictures for us of the country, north, south.
Well, look, I mean, the Finns across the Gulf of Finland from us, they think we're, dumb and stupid, and the Latvians think we're slow, and the Russians think more or less the same and stuff, and it's okay. Everybody has their stereotypes, but what we do is, yes, we don't make decisions quickly. We take our time. We're not very, I would say, temperamental in that sense, because we actually kind of are almost immune to attack, so to say, And I think that, of course, within our so-called Estonian family, we have a lot of fights, But still, when we celebrate who we are, we don't celebrate our dominance. We celebrate our simplicity. We celebrate our awesome nature, our seas, our islands, our forests, our language, which is also reflected in our song festivals, because that's where our language is the most prevalent, and our intonation is the thing that creates our mentality. It's not just a tool of communication. It represents our nation. It binds us together. It doesn't matter if you're from the islands, or you're from southern Estonia, or even Russian-speaking parts of Estonia. That language actually identifies us as one.
I was with the president yesterday, president of Estonia, and I asked her what was at the heart of the culture of Estonia. She never missed a beat. She said, music.
Well, music is this kind of thing which, look, music is a I would say it's not a doctrine. Music is, it is a world of feelings. It's a world of emotions. It's a world of innate intelligence. We think ourselves out of most of the greatest things in the world because we don't trust our feelings. We say, hey, yes, that's too good to be true. So actually, let's ignore our intuition and let's do something which is a little bit smarter. Mm-hmm. But in fact, we always are so smart that we screw everything up. So we try as much as possible to preserve our nation and our belief of, kind of easy does it. Let's kind of keep things simple. Let's keep things clear, and let's trust our feelings. And we celebrate our togetherness by actually not talking about it or going to war, but actually by singing us together.
Wow.
And that is something which we are even having a hard time now. I mean, it's still very, very, I mean, extremely close to our hearts, but people tend to forget now, you know, because we're in this world of commerce and craziness, that we have to actually join that crazy world of commerce and craziness. Our mission now is actually to preserve what we have, and not to become part of this world of just numbers, where actually people are expendable, where language is just a tool of communication. That our identity is actually our mentality, which is our language, which is our songs, and which is our beauty, which is our kind of lust for life. You know, we have all a one-way ticket, you know, and we're all going to the same place. But you know what we're going to create? We're going to invent things. We're going to, okay, if we're part of this crazy commercial world, let's actually do it in a fun way. You know, let's not say like, this is our bottom line, we have to make it by, you know, the third quarter earnings are here, you know, and it's like, no, okay, well, you know, if we make it, great, but let's do it in a joyful way. Let's not go crazy about it.
You had a big extravaganza last night. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, last night was this opening of this Birgitta festival, which already I think it's in its 19th year or 20th year. And it's something which was started by actually another conductor called Erik Lass, who has passed now, but it's his 80th anniversary year. And he was one of the international kind of, I would say, entities, cultural entities that traveled all over the world. And he wanted to always do something different and crazy. And last night was, I think, the epitome of that, which was a staging of shadow theater, which was usually, it's reserved for puppets, you know, when,
yes.
Yeah, but actually with full-size humans, you know, actually actors. And so it was a combination of that type of theater with dance and driven all by music, which I was music director of. And so the orchestra was in the pit, but it wasn't really an orchestra. It was kind of a combination of band from, I would say, jazz to pop to hip hop and even techno. And then there was some classical music there as well. And so I like to mix things up very much. And so now this was kind of a very big illustration of that, which it was like a full arts work, what was live and kind of it was really like a new genre. It's very hard to explain if you haven't kind of experienced it, and a lot of things which are new are very hard to explain when you haven't actually sat through it. So the whole idea was planet harmony, so meaning that an alien who comes from his planet, which is called Planet Harmony, comes here, finds himself actually by accident, discovers this incredible paradise, and makes friends with this one kid who went camping with his family, and actually befriends this family, and so this family starts to help him, a little bit like E.T., you know?
Yeah,
and but then he goes into this, our cell phones and smartphones, starts to look at actually what we're doing to our planet and how we act with each other and behave toward each other, which is very far from the paradise that he thought he landed in. And he then starts a campaign to actually say, hey, listen, I left my planet. I was one of the few that was actually able to escape, and I'm roaming the galaxies, and I found your planet, and it looks like you're headed to the same sort of destruction that our planet was actually destroyed by. And so it had a message of think broader, don't think provincial, be kind to each other. Actually, that's the greatest commodity we have. And we should not ever doubt that actually we are bigger than, you know, just this planet. We have actually a much bigger sense of why we should be, why we're here, why we're actually even conscious to realize that we're here, why we are interacting with each other. We're not here to fight. We're here to actually create. We're here to bring people together as one organism that is connected to the planet. And that's actually very much an Estonian way of thinking, which is that we are connected with our nature. We're connected with our organism, which is why we are here. We're not actually living on top of it and creating fictitious tools to interact by and with, and so that was actually the bigger message of that thing. But generally, yeah, I'm kind of mixing things up already for a long time, since the time that I actually created this thing called Absolute Ensemble in New York.
You are an artist, composer, pianist, conductor. I feel a tug of war within you, artist against commerce, huh?
Absolutely. Look, there's a tug of war, because the temptation is absolutely undeniable. You are in a situation where you are literally almost like in a vortex. You know, you're sucked into this kind of this like way of thinking that you have to compete. And I try literally every single day to just block that out. Try to not watch TV, try not to watch, you know, constantly what's on you know, the latest breaking whatever news on my cell phone, or I try to keep myself up to date on what other people who I like are doing. And if they are somehow getting recognition and people are booking them for concerts and are actually being moved emotionally somehow, then that means that you don't have to think up of all sorts of gimmicks and kind of start great PR campaigns and, you know, try to make yourself something that you're not. If you just kind of steady, slowly keep at it, just like Arvo Pärt, for example. And yes, maybe he is 82 years old now, but he's also somebody who is recognized the world over because he actually stayed true to his way of being, calm, clear, intuitive, and completely simple and authentic. And I can't say that he isn't one of my heroes. You know, he really is a big role model for me.
Do you feel that you've escaped?
I haven't escaped, but when I come to Estonia, I feel like this is a place where I can escape. When I come to America, I feel like I go crazy, you know, and then, but I love America. I would say, like, I would not be the person I am if I wasn't in America. America has given me something which has completely made me, I would say, the most open-minded person that I could possibly be. If I was not with the background that I am with, you know, going to school in New York and then finally winding up in University of Michigan, and then going and having my first job in Los Angeles, I wouldn't be the person I am now. I couldn't see it. You know, I'd be still probably pretty interested, but probably much more reserved, probably much more kind of not so kind of fearless, I think. And I think that's what we have to instill in people is actually there's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear. And you know, being from this region, I obviously have a great affinity for the sea that we live on, Baltic Sea Philharmonic. And 10 years ago, in fact, me and a few friends of mine, we created such a thing called Baltic Sea Philharmonic. And it has musicians from all of the 10 countries that are in the region of the Baltic Sea, from Norway to Russia. Nice. And so we initially created it to be a tool for unity, you know, and using music as that vehicle to set all of our differences aside and actually say, hey, listen, this sea, which actually has kept everybody apart and mostly traditional enemies, let it be the glue that actually sews everyone together. And so now we have, through various, I mean, it started off as a youth orchestra, but then developed step by step into an orchestra of young professionals and really kind of an education vehicle and also an empowerment vehicle, which now we are doing all sorts of shows that are not traditional concerts, but actually more like concert experiences, because we actually choreograph them and use all sorts of lighting. Everybody plays all full programs, the whole orchestra by memory, standing, walking around. I mean, not walking around, but I mean choreographed, you know. And the whole thing is actually I would say an example of, if you set your fears aside, the potential of one human being is immense. But as an organism, which it becomes as an orchestra, which is a living, breathing organism by itself, I mean, there's no end. And if we can unite the planet like this, think about it. It becomes a completely, we have to change the currency, you know. Money is not a currency, money is a tool. We have to change the currency to something of giving and protecting what we have, rather than taking and saying, like, I'm better than you. You know, hey, listen, I'm more powerful than you. Actually say, like, you know what, if you're really powerful, open up your arms and say, hey, take everything I've got, because I've got plenty to go around. And actually that is the mentality of Estonia, where Estonians actually, they don't have much, and they shouldn't be this kind of thing like, oh, well, wait a second, we're so small, so we need to protect ourselves and of, let's say, foreigners and all sorts of different people who don't speak our language, and we have to be like scared. No, actually, let's make this Estonian party so awesome that people want to join it of their own own volition and actually add to it, and actually and we should be with our open arms saying, yes, you know what, join our party, and if you want to, there's plenty of us who believe in the fact that, you know what, we, even though we're small, we're just as powerful as I don't know, the most powerful corporation or country in the world. But it's not, you see, you can't equate things like that in levels. You are powerful if you're confident, and if you're confident because you know that you've got something to say, and you can create something and invent something, and you've got like-minded thinkers all around the world. You've got everything you want, and that, I hope, is the Estonian mentality.
You are the Estonian word. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a terrific conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. For information about This Is America and the World, visit our website, thisisamerica.net, or our YouTube channel, This Is America TV, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen to all of our ambassador interviews on our podcast, The Ambassador Series. It's available on our website and iTunes. This Is America and the World is brought to you by Japan, history, hospitality, and advanced technology, sharing tomorrow. The Washington Diplomat, a world of news and perspective. The Sultanate of Oman. The Estonian American National Council, Enterprise Estonia, and the European Regional Development Fund, and the Foreign Ministry of the Republic of Estonia. The U.S.-China Education Trust and F.Y. Chang Foundation, Julia Chang Block, President. The Rotendaro Family Trust. The Forerunner Foundation, dedicated to forward-thinking public policy. And the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy, presenting international artists in diplomatic settings.